Let's raise the big questions then. Is the Election Commission truly a neutral umpire anymore? Does the EC have different rules for the BJP and its rivals? Are cash handouts ahead of elections to be seen as a bribe? Is money power key to elections in states like Telangana? Now, before I come to the talking point, let's just tell you why I'm raising this. Are there two rules by the Election Commission? On October 9, the Model Code of Conduct came into force. Elections were announced. On November 7, the Shivraj Singh Chauhan BJP government in Madhya Pradesh releases the Ladli Behna payment for women from underprivileged homes. They got their 1,250 rupees even though Madhya Pradesh was going to the polls on the 17th. On 15th of November, the Prime Minister released the 15th installment of the Kisan Samman Nidhi nationwide. Remember, 6,000 rupees is disbursed under 3 tranches. On November 27th, the Election Commission bars the KCR government from making Rythu Bandhu payments even though they had cleared this just 2 days ago. Take a look at more examples potentially of double standards. A complaint that was filed by the Congress is rejected, but a charge that Prime Minister Modi called Rahul Gandhi Murkho ka Sardar. Action by the EC not taken. Complaint filed by the BJP. Charge Rahul Gandhi called Prime Minister Modi a panauti and a pickpocket. Action taken by EC, a notice to Rahul Gandhi. These are just some of the examples. Joining me now, Anil Anthony is BJP's young spokesperson. Ajoy Kumar is Congress's former MP and spokesperson. Krishank Mane is BRS leader. Jaiprakash Narayan is founder of Lok Satta movement, and they've tried to bring some transparency in Indian politics. I'll come to Jaiprakash later, but I want to get reactions from the politicians, starting with Krishank Mane of the BRS. Krishank Mane, the charge which is being made and which is why the EC has stopped the Rythu Bandhu scheme is your state Telangana goes to the polls on the 30th. Harish Rao, Finance Minister, announces on 29 people will all get 5,000 rupees in their accounts under Rythu Bandhu scheme. This is being seen as an attempt to bribe the voters. This is not as if there is a particular date on which this money has to be given. It's given with the Rabi crop and the Kharif crop. So why did you choose one day before the elections? Election Commission says this is a bribe to voters.
Rajdeep, number one, it is Rythu Bandhu is a brainchild of Chief Minister KCR, which is the first initiative in this country. And should we stop talking about it in election campaigns? Because we have initiated it and it's a successful program. So we definitely spoke about it, number one. Number two, why did this entire issue come up with the Election Commission when it was an ongoing scheme? October 26th, it was the former PCC President, Uttam Kumar Reddy, who knocked the doors of the Election Commission, asking them to stop. This whole issue went to the Election Commission. Now, when did the Election Commission take a decision? They cleared it off just a couple of days ago. And now when it was about to be dispersed, now they have stopped it again.
No, they're saying you can't disperse it one day before the election. It's the timing. They're not saying don't give the money. It's an ongoing scheme, yes, but you can't give it one day before polling takes place. That's seen as a bribe.
Rajdeep, number one, who dragged it till here? It was the Election Commission just few days ago, just 2-3 days ago has cleared it. It was again the Congress Vice President today, Mr. Niranjan, who wrote to the election to stop this. Our point is, why does rule of law apply only to us and not to the government of India, the Bharatiya Janata Party? You have already mentioned Kisan Samman Nidhi. They called it, you Google out all the statements, they called it a Diwali gift. They called it a Diwali gift and Modi ji spoke about it in Rajasthan speeches, Rajdeep. Modi ji did mention about Kisan Samman Nidhi, but there was no blockade. But here, when it comes to government of Telangana, which is definitely, because see, you cannot stop agriculture just because there are polls. You see, currently it is important because the crop season has come. The farmers have to, begin the agriculture. And now at this juncture, if Congress leaders think, I mean, why are you afraid of Rythu Bandhu disbursement?
Okay, I've taken your point, Krishan. You're saying two rules, one for the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Yojana where the disbursements are taking place, another rule for Rythu Bandhu where you are making disbursements to farmers. You're claiming Congress is the one which has gone and complained to the Election Commission. Therefore, Ajoy Kumar responds, 65 lakh farmers have been the beneficiaries of this scheme. The Rabi crop is about to be cultivated. Why deny the farmers their 5,000 rupees of an ongoing scheme? It's not a new scheme, it's an ongoing scheme.
So first of all, I need to disabuse my colleague from BRS. You see, the Election Commission has quoted the model code of conduct because the minister went and announced ping, 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 ping on your phone. The issues, you see, they're again mixing up the issues. It's not the Congress anyone, as the Election Commission has clearly said in the order. So unfortunately, nobody seems to be reading.
No, but the Election Commission cleared the same disbursements 2 days ago. What suddenly changed?
Well, could you just listen? Request you to listen. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They gave permission. And then the minister, Mr. Harish Rao, goes and says, ping, 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 ping will come in. So it is, if you read the Election Commission order, it is the violation of model code of conduct. The second issue is that the Congress has said, and look at the fake concern for the farmers. They did it in 2018, before election. They wanted to do it 2023 before election. The ongoing scheme is for the farmers, is for the Rabi season. It could have been dispersed in October when we met, Uttam Reddy ji and everybody met. We said disperse the money before the 10th of November. They didn't want to do it. We were okay with, our question was, why not in October? When does the Rabi start wheat procurement? Sir, I'll just complete. The important part is, we have a government in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. We couldn't have done, should we have done it? Whether it is ongoing scheme, as far as the election goes, you dispersed it before. Why didn't the farm?
You're saying they should have dispersed it before the model code of conduct came into force. Am I correct?
Given it to the no, they're anti. They don't care about farmers. They did it in 2018. They only, no, let me complete, sir. They only are concerned about, and look at the arrogance. Ping in your phone, 5,000 rupees. That's what they said in a rally. So that is where the Election Commission said enough is enough. It is not us. Please read the order.
Yeah, I'm going to, okay, you made your point, but the fact is, across every Indian state, every leader is making cash announcements. I'll come back to that with Jaiprakash Narayan. But before that, Anil Antony, to get you in. You see, the BJP has its Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Yojana ongoing scheme. Disbursements taking place there. Ladli Behna, a scheme in Madhya Pradesh, which has also gone to the polls on 7th of November. Women in the state got 1,250 rupees, ongoing scheme. But the Election Commission has chosen to intervene with Rythu Bandhu because the finance minister made an announcement that the cash will come into hand. I mean, I fail to understand, are there different rules for the opposition parties like opposition governments and different rules for the ruling party in Delhi?
Thank you, Rajdeep, and I would say absolutely not. There are multiple aspects here. First of all, now it has become very fashionable for any of our opposition parties to blame the Bharatiya Janata Party for anything that is not going their own way. Like today, the Election Commission, it is the Election Commission's decision to stop the payments because the Finance Minister of Telangana clearly broke the model code of conduct. The scheme is ongoing for a while, and Election Commission had given them permission to proceed with the scheme as long as the condition was it was not publicized, and clearly he broke it. Earlier, the Congress Party was accusing the Bharatiya Janata Party of colluding with the BRS. Why? They were saying that the cases that are filed against the BRS leaders is not going fast. So these are all independent organizations, whether it is the Election Commission or any of these organizations, these are all independent organizations, and Bharatiya Janata Party has now created an environment where all these organizations can work without any prejudices and pressures from outside.
No, but the fact, Anil Antony, is that the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister is happily publicizing Ladli Behna right through his campaign. At that stage, the EC should have said, no, you put a stop to it. This is an ongoing scheme which involves cash handouts before the election. You can't publicize it. Same rule should apply.
Again, let me tell you about that also. So first of all, unlike, again, when compared to our political opponents, we have, the Bharatiya Janata Party has a very clear we have a very clear policy of governance where our first priority is to create growth, where, as you are all aware, for the last 9.5 years, we are seeing unprecedented growth. Along with that, we are creating capacity where we are empowering our citizens by creating schemes where we are creating houses, Pradhan Mantri Housing Yojana. It's hard capacity. And then to ensure that there is inclusive growth, we have been giving welfare schemes also. So,
what is the difference between Rythu Bandhu publicizing and Ladli Behna publicizing?
The Prime Minister announced that scheme, which is an ongoing scheme for the last many years, for the next 5 years, and this is for the whole country. This is not for any specific election.
No, I am talking about Ladli Behna specifically. I am giving you an example. November 7, 10 days before Madhya Pradesh is to go to polls, women got 1,250 rupees, and it was seen by the BJP as a major talking point. Now, if that is allowed in Madhya Pradesh, why not in Telangana?
I will tell you, here in Telangana, the elections are on the 30th. 28th is the last day of campaign. One day before, when already Election Commission had allowed them to proceed with this particular scheme with the condition that they shouldn't be doing this. When you do it one day before, it is something which, it is a condition they have made with the Election Commission that they are breaking.
Okay, I take your point, and therefore, Krishan Mane, before I go to Jayaprakash Narayan, respond to that. You have violated the rules according to the Election Commission. The rule violation is campaigning is ending on the 28th. Elections are on the 30th. What does your finance minister say? 29th, to use the words of Ajoy Kumar, ping. On my mobile phone, I will get 5,000 rupees. You are essentially bribing the voters.
Rajdeep, number one, that is why I mentioned the date. Uttam Kumar Reddy ji went on the October 26th. When did the election? Because see, after Uttam Kumar Reddy's complaint, the decision was hold near the Election Commission. When did they clear, Rajdeep? 24th November. We haven't chosen the date. How are you saying, or how are the BJP and Congress saying that we are doing it 1 day or 2 days before the polls when it is actually the Election Commission which has cleared it on the 24th? And after that, we have the Saturday and Sunday, officials working. This would be a problem. And there is the Kartika Purnami, which is a festival here down south also. So after this, Harish Rao ji, as a responsible, because it is the farmers, it is again concerned to distress. Congress is not bothered about it. We've just given a bharosa that you will get your Rythu Bandhu. We haven't asked them. His speech doesn't say that you are getting Rythu Bandhu. You voters, you vote to the car symbol, you vote to KCR. No, we haven't said this.
Ajay, you want to respond quickly to Krishan?
So I'll just take it 2 seconds. I don't know, Krishanji is seeing which video of Harish Rao. Harish Rao said that on 29th you'll get 5,000 rupees on your phone, at which you ran the program. The other issue is, one second. So you can see it on India Today again. The other issue is, which is fundamental, is that the Rabi, they did it in 2018. Can they deny it? They did it.
Sir, we do it twice in the year, sir. We do it regularly.
No, sir. Let me correct you now.
Before anyone did it in India, we've been doing it regularly.
Sir, can you
don't teach us about our scheme, sir? Please don't teach us about our scheme. We very well know about our scheme.
I have been told to speak. You will have to listen. Otherwise, you speak. So he told me to speak. So let me tell you. 2019, you gave it in December. 2021, you gave it in January. 2022, you gave it in December. You gave it only on 2018 during elections. And you wanted to do the same fraud on the farmers. No, one second. Krishna, you'll have to let me complete, sir. I didn't interrupt when you were speaking. So my question to you is, larger question, Rajdeep, is whether it is an ongoing scheme. The silent period, if you want democracy to be totally subverted and destroyed, it applies to us, it applies to them. Ongoing scheme, it's only, the election is only to the 15 days period. 20 days period with your nomination.
Okay, I've heard both sides. I've heard both sides. Let me bring in Jayaprakash Narayan. Lok Satta has often spoken about transparency, need for accountability, need to ensure that our elections are devoid of money power. There's a sense that these state elections, this whole so-called freebie culture has meant that every party is announcing cash handouts. And what seems to have happened is that these cash handouts seem to have different rules for different parties. What's your sense? Is this in some way undermining democracy when a party says, day before the polls, 5,000 rupees will come into your account under an ongoing scheme?
Thank you, Rajdeep. There are, to my mind, three connected issues here. The first is, has the Election Commission overstepped its boundaries? it appears that EC has been inconsistent and arbitrary. I am quite surprised that the order is that you can distribute the money, but it cannot be part of the political discourse during the campaigning. What does it mean? A government that actually does something good, bad, ugly, whatever, it's legitimately done as a public policy, cannot state that in campaigning. What kind of an order is that? And then they cannot promise anything more in the election for the next term if they come to power. Well, the other parties are free to promise. By definition, it's an arbitrary order. It's not well thought out. The second is, when the Election Commission actually had the jurisdiction, legitimate jurisdiction to actually curb some freebies which are clearly beyond the pale of the Constitution, the Commission failed to do so.
Give me an example.
2006, Rajdeep, Tamil Nadu offered color TV. I appealed to the Commission. I told them, ordinarily, Commission has no role in election campaign issues. It's for the people and the political parties. But under what provision of the Constitution is it the role of the government to promote TVs? If you allow color TVs today, tomorrow somebody will say, we'll give you 10 grams of gold. If you allow that day after tomorrow, somebody will say, I'll give you 5 bottles of liquor every month. What is wrong with that? So there is a line, there is a threshold which is being crossed. The Commission failed to act. And now actually one party offered 10 grams of gold as part of the marriage, 1 lakh rupees in cash plus 10 grams of gold. Already it's happening. Tomorrow I'll not be surprised if somebody offers liquor. But the final question, the bigger question is, where will it stop? Apart from elections. Elections is one thing. I don't think elections, it makes serious difference. People see through all this. But where will it stop? Certainly, we have to have welfare in a poor country. You cannot say you will ignore the pain of poverty in the short term. But if that's all the government does, that's all the government publicizes, we're in serious danger. Article 293 imposes the burden on the union. The Constituent Assembly clearly debated this repeatedly. Ambedkar and Munshi and others said, the credit to the Union of India and the financial stability, they have to be managed federally. Under Article 293, the union government has the responsibility to ensure that certain conditions are imposed for the debt. Now, what we should do is, whatever you want to do, the states are free to do. After all, you are elected by the people. But you cannot borrow money to give short-term welfare measures. Borrowed money has to be for investment. There has to be some basic rule. The Constitution provides for that. So I think beyond the election, irrespective of who wins, we have to now look at that. Otherwise, Telangana, right now, in the last 5 years, has been giving out 50,000 crores plus annually in terms of short-term welfare measures. What is offered by one of the parties, in addition to 50,000 crores, is about 80,000 crores per year. Simply unsustainable. On top of it, an old pension system, unviable pension system, going back from the national pension system, which is funded, going back to the unfunded pension system that will destroy the states. Now, you cannot have it in perpetuity. You have to take them out of election campaign, and the union government has to play its rightful role under Article 293 of the Constitution, and the government has been failing in doing that.
We'll come to those specific figures, because in every state today, there is a crisis financially, Krishang Mane. And that financial crisis is being sparked off by what many see as freebies. Some may be genuine welfare measures. But when I offer free mobile phones to women, for example, as is the offer in Rajasthan, or when you are offering monies, cash handouts for those during marriage under Shadi Mubarak, then there will be questions. Are these welfare measures, or is this an attempt to bribe the voters? That's the other question, the larger question. It's not just to do with what the EC has done. It's to do with the manner in which governments, including yours in Telangana, are being accused of effectively using financial resources to bribe the voters. Not for welfare benefits, but essentially a bribe.
Rajdeep, I don't think any of our scheme is actually for luxury or for the privileged. If, for instance, you say about the 1,01,016 rupees which we are giving, it has curbed the women trafficking here with the scheme Shadi Mubarak. Otherwise, earlier, before 2014, Hyderabad was known for Dubai sheikhs coming and marrying young women, young children here and taking them to the Dubai. But we have curbed it with the scheme like Shadi Mubarak. If we have started a Dalit Bandhu, those Dalits who are getting benefited out of this scheme, they put up a business, they are actually contributing to the economic growth, economic engine of the state. If we are giving the sheep, we are giving the buffaloes, that community is actually, they are gaining because it's giving them 10,000 to 12,000 per sheep. If we are actually putting those fish seedlings in the lake or in the rivers, that is giving development, economic development to the Mudraj community. So these are not just freebies. We have not announced by the Congress scooties, free scooties. I'll tell you one thing, Rajdeep. You know, I've seen numerous national parties in UP, in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan. Today in Telangana also they've entered by announcing scooties. But has any of the state government actually delivered? Just for the mere announcement. Even BJP has done that, even Congress has done that. I don't think any of our scheme is
So
actually...
you're trying to make a distinction between what you're calling our welfare measures and what others will call freebies. Anil Antony, the Prime Minister says this is Revdi culture. But this Revdi culture seems to be also in the BJP is also announcing free scooties. So when the BJP announces free schemes, it's not Revdi. But when the opposition announces it, it becomes Revdi. How is it that when the BJP announces in all the states various cash handout schemes, it is seen as welfareism? Moment opposition announces it, and in some instances ahead of you, you say it's Revdi.
Rajdeep, thank you. The Bharatiya Janata Party was never against welfareism, but we have always stood for sustainable and progressive growth. You look at what the Bharatiya Janata Party has been doing in the last 9.5 years. Again, like I already mentioned earlier, welfare in a country like India with our demographics, we do need welfare schemes, and that is a very important strand of our form of governance. But we have been stressing on growth first. You look at the last 9.5 years, every single year India has been one of the fastest growing major economies.
No, but if we are the fastest growing economy, as you say, Anil Antony, why do you need these schemes? My point is, why not accept that there is economic distress? And rather than saying all, you see, the point is you're saying that we are the fastest growing, but you're going to elections and appealing to elections on freebies.
So let me clarify. So one, we are growing, but at the same time to ensure that there is inclusive growth and to ensure that everybody are a part of that growth, we have been empowering our citizens who sometimes are not growing the same way.
No, how is a scooty inclusive?
So again, before we go to these scooties, let me tell some of the other things we have been doing. Where under the PM Housing Yojana, 4 crore houses. In the tap water scheme, 40 crore beneficiaries. You have gas connections. You have a digital public infrastructure. You have like all these. This is building hard capacity where it's not a one-time thing. This is something that once you give to a beneficiary, it is something which that person, it is with the person, or it is something which the person will be using for a long time. So this is our core focus: growth and creating capacity of empowering people by creating these kind of digital public infrastructure and digital and public infrastructure. Okay. Then along with that, we also have been giving welfare schemes to ensure that...
Scooty, I'll ask you again, is a free scooty for you a welfare scheme or a freebie?
See, the biggest of our schemes, one of our biggest announcements was one the Honorable Prime Minister made some days back, where 80 crore people will be getting an extension of their free ration scheme. And I'm very sure that we all, like even members of the opposition were applauding that, because we understand in a country like India, like we have to ensure that there should be equitable growth where like everybody don't grow the same way.
No, there's an acknowledgement that there is economic distress at the bottom of the pyramid. No, I don't think anyone will object giving free ration to the poor, provided...
It is not distress.
Okay, it's not distress, then what is it? If it is not distress, what is it? 80 crore you are saying 80 crore Indians are getting free ration. If 80 crores...
per capita has been... So we have been the fastest growing economy for the last 9.5 years. Our per capita has been increasing also, means average...
Then why do I need to give 80 crore Indians free ration?
Because everybody don't grow the same way. Like
okay. So there's an acknowledgement of inequalities, but you know...
That happens across the world.
Okay, so agreed. I'm not saying... Sir, I asked you about free scooties. You've gone to everything else but free scooties, Mr. Antony. You're not answering me whether free scooties are a freebie or a welfare benefit.
See, inequalities, Rajdeep, exist across the world. There is nowhere in the world inequality is not there. But as long as there is overall growth, where people are growing and people are getting certain benefits, where their overall lifestyle is improving, their overall quality of life is improving, where people are getting avenues of social and economic mobility. That has been happening in this country consistently for the last 9.5 years.
You
This
did
is why
not answer my question about the free scooty. Is a free scooty a freebie or not? Yes or no?
See, I don't know where this free scooty is coming from. So please elaborate.
Because in different announcements have been made by your leaders as well. I come to Ajoy Kumar. Therefore, Ajoy Kumar, look at what's happening with Rythu Bandhu. You are saying you will raise Rythu Bandhu to 15,000. Now it is 10,000 in 2 installments of 5,000. What is Congress saying? We'll make it 15,000. We'll give loan waivers. This is competition. Today, because EC has stepped in, you're targeting the BRS. How are you different? You're only going to do it if you win the elections. All of you are trying to bribe the voters. That's the reality.
So let me disabuse you of certain misbeliefs. Even Mr. Jayaprakash Narayan on some issues. That 10 lakh crores of loans, 10 lakh crores in the past 10 lakh crores in the past 9 years of corporates have been waived off. Nobody seems to have a TV debate on those issues. 1.5 lakh crores of tax was foregone. So the question again is, whether you look at 10 lakh crores, my friend, and I have a different view, like Karnataka free bus ride. 100 crore trips were taken by women. 100 crores. And the revenue of the KSRTC has increased. My question to you is, what does a poor family do when they have the 5,000 rupees additional? They spend it on children's education. And Anil was telling about the economy growing. The fact is that the UPA average growth was 8.5%, but we shouldn't get into a debate like that. 25 crores went out of poverty. But the important part is, if 80 crore people need ration to survive, then that's a very strange economic growth. But the most important part is that the state governments have to find a way out.
How are you finding a way out if you are blaming the TRS government for the Rythu Bandhu scheme leading to bankruptcy of the exchequer, but you are saying I will increase the amount under Rythu Bandhu? Why not accept Rythu Bandhu is actually a good scheme? Accept that it is helping the farmers.
No, one sec. Nobody in Congress has said Rythu Bandhu. I don't know where you got this misconception that we said it is bankrupting. So don't please disabuse yourself again of that wrong fact. We never said the Rythu Bandhu.
You have said that KCR's government is bankrupting the exchequer.
One sec. So yeah, now let's come to that. Kaleswaram, 1.5 lakh crores. So we said that Telangana was a zero debt state. It has got 5,30,000 crore debt on its head because of misgovernance. Am I wrong in that? The facts are correct. The issue is, one sec, sir, let me complete. I don't interrupt, sir. My 5 lakh, when Telangana was formed, it had zero debt, Rajdeep. It's got 5,30,000. They have not paid 52,000 crores of electricity bill. They have not paid 52. If somebody said 60,000, I need to check that number. But last I remember, 52,000 crore of electricity bill was pending. Is that not making the state bankrupt? Definitely. And it's not Rythu Bandhu which is troubling them. It is the sheer incompetence which is troubling them. Or corruption is troubling them.
Okay, let me just bring in Jayaprakash Narayan to conclude this. Jayaprakash Narayan, as you said, you're worried about the impact, the financial drain this competition is having over various schemes. We moved from the role of the EC to the financial implications of these various schemes. Should we therefore make a distinction between benefits that will actually improve the lot of people, like Rythu Bandhu possibly with farmers, and should we look at free mobiles and free scooties that are being offered as examples, or color TV, as you mentioned, as clear bribes?
Rajdeep, you're absolutely right. In a democracy as poor as India, it's impossible not to have short-term welfare measures. Even rich countries do that. You can't sustain democracy, you can't bring society together unless there is some kind of mitigation of poverty. But in what form and to what extent? These are two central questions. Take loan waiver as an example. All my life I worked in the farm sector. Everybody in Telugu states and some southern states, they all know about my credentials. But loan waiver is a terrible way of doing it. 70% of the loans of farmers are not in the organized sector. They're informal loans. So only 30%. And among them, those who repay, they don't get anything. That means you're basically saying if you repay, you're a useless fellow. You're not a smart fellow. If you don't repay, you get the benefit. Now, it's killing the culture. What's important is adequacy and timeliness of the credit with low interest rate. For that, interest subsidies are available. So there is a way of helping farmers. We are helping exactly the wrong way to get short-term political gains. And the larger question is, unless there is a balance between short-term welfare measures and long-term economic growth, this country will be in deep danger. I plead with all political parties with great respect. I never abused political parties. I believe politics is a noble endeavor. I know they have a very difficult task and a thankless task of uniting society and addressing the aspirations of the poor, but there has to be some long-term responsibility. If you simply keep on borrowing for short-term, right now, Rajdeep, Indian states, all states, I'm giving you the average, and the specific states, they vary from state to state. If you take the salaries, pensions, and interest burden alone, without spending a rupee for the people, the average now is 120% of the own revenues of the states. And about 75% of the total revenues, including Government of India transfers. And that amount is going to increase within the next 15 years to 220% of the own revenues and about 120, 130% of the total revenues. We are getting into an unsustainable position. And on top of it, not only extraordinary, short-term welfare measures, tomorrow they can be withdrawn. After all, they're going to the poor people, large number of them, small amounts per capita. You can withdraw them as poverty declines. Maybe you can actually reduce the burden on the exchequer. And any future government can restructure it, and you're anyway funding it today. But unfunded old pension system for 3% of the population, a settled issue 19 years ago by Vajpayee government and Manmohan Singh government. State after state, you offer to benefit 3% of the people at the cost of 97% with unfunded pension, with mounting pension burden, with what is called wage index linkage. And therefore, people who retired with 40,000 rupees salary are now getting 1,60,000 rupees. You want to perpetuate that and transfer the burden to the future and guarantee destruction of the states and the union.
Okay.
What kind of responsibility is that?
I think that's a
You
very
have to talk
sobering.
about that. You cannot simply allow the future of India to be completely destroyed, not even mortgaged, at the altar of temporary electoral gain. I understand the pain of politics. Some balance, for heaven's sake, some balance. That's all I'm pleading.
Okay, I think that's a sobering note for our three political representatives from the three parties of Kerala. Do not mortgage the future for short-term gains at election time. Rythu Bandhu, by all accounts, has been a beneficial scheme. It unfortunately excludes tenants and agriculture labor, and they too are the ones who really need the benefit at times of cash incomes. For now, I appreciate my guests joining me here on the news today.